YouTube family, what's good with you? It's your boy 2A in LA, and as always, fam, anything I say in this episode, prior episodes, and future episodes is just my personal opinion. You shouldn't take it as fact. You shouldn't take it as law. Always do your own homework and come up with your own conclusions. Right about now, family, I should go ahead and tap that like button for your boy. All right. If you're new to the channel, I want to say welcome. Come on in, have a seat, join the congregation. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I think you are going to enjoy the content, family. If you don't look, you can always unsubscribe later. All right. If you are an existing supporter of the channel, fam, I appreciate you more than you can possibly imagine. All right, fam, look, let's get into this. So, fam, if you guys saw my video from a week or so ago, you guys know that I recently received my concealed carry permit here in the state of California. I already had a concealed carry permit as a non-resident of Arizona, which allowed me to carry in something like 36 states or so. But it didn't apply to my own home state of California. And I talked in that video about kind of the long journey it took me to get there. But I thought, given that I recently received my CCW here in California, it'd be a good time to talk about concealed carry insurance. Look, fam, if you are concealed carrying, if you live in a constitutional carry state where you conceal carry, or you have your own CCW permit from your state and you carry, you really, fam, cannot afford to carry without concealed carry insurance. Unless you are an independently wealthy, and I'm not going to say millionaire, unless you are a billionaire, you really need to be carrying, you really need to have concealed carry insurance, because the liability and the cost associated with carrying a handgun is literally astronomical. So I'm just going to talk real briefly about the risk, and then I'm going to kind of break down the different carriers out there that you should maybe take a look at and kind of talk pros and cons. All right, so let's start off with the risk. From a risk perspective, first of all, let me address the people who don't think there is a risk. I would say if you carry a gun, you assume that there is a large enough risk that I should carry a gun, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't carry. If you felt perfectly safe in every situation, you wouldn't carry a firearm. You carry the firearm because you believe in your heart of hearts that there is a risk that you may need to use it at some point in time. And if that risk is there, then you need to insure against that risk. Okay, and what does that risk consist of? Number one, for certain, even if you're not charged, your gun is going to be taken away from you. So you're going to be without that gun, likely for an extended period of time, and you may never get it back. So just for the cost of the gun alone, that should be something that you're considering. Number two, legal cost. If everything goes absolutely perfect, right, you are still in all likelihood going to require legal services for a certain period of time to have conversations on your behalf with the police, to have conversations on your behalf with the district attorney or the prosecuting attorney, to get through that period smoothly, assuming you were 100% in the right, okay? Heaven forbid you do something wrong and you are actually charged. And keep in mind, you don't have to be wrong. Wrong in the legal world is really in the eye of the beholder. So you don't necessarily have to do anything wrong for them to charge you. So whether you do something wrong or you don't, if you are in fact charged, now you're facing what could be a very lengthy court battle. And you're going to need a lot of things to be able to fight that fight. Not just an attorney. You're likely going to need investigators who are going to do the investigation, and the police likely would not. Police investigators are really aligned with the prosecutor, not you. So you're going to want your own investigators involved with that process. So that's number one. Number two, you're likely going to need expert witnesses who can testify based on your behalf, based on situationally what took place. All these things and the actual cost of the attorney staff, and all that kind of legal fees, expert witness fees, all that stuff could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And unless you got, a few $100,000 sitting around somewhere, that you're okay with giving up, you need to have concealed carry insurance. Beyond that, there is the civil risk. Even if you are not charged, the person who you fired your weapon upon or their family could come back and sue you civilly. Again, you're going to need all the same things in a civil trial that you would need in a criminal trial. You're going to need expert witnesses, you're going to need investigators, etc. Heaven forbid you have both going on simultaneously, right? Okay, so now literally you could be talking about a 7-figure situation just on your defense, let alone the civil liability should you lose, could be in the millions of dollars, right? So that has to be considered. So risks abound here. And at the end of the day, your personal freedom and your financial freedom is at risk anytime you pull your gun from your holster. All right. So with that said, hopefully I've made a case for you why concealed carry insurance is so vital. So now let's talk a little bit about concealed carry insurance providers, the differences between them, pros and cons. I'm going to put up a little grid on the screen and we can kind of walk through them. Okay, so for the purposes of this discussion, I'm looking at 4 primary providers. There are certainly more. I'm not saying that these are the only providers that you should look at, but these are some of the heavyweights in the industry, and that's CCW Safe, USCCA, Right to Bear, US Law Shield. Some of these may be very, very familiar to you. Some maybe not as much. So let's kind of start off, and the categories that we're kind of looking at are kind of date established, startup fees, monthly cost, annual cost, states where they don't offer coverage, whether they allow you to travel nationally, whether they pay out up front or it's a reimbursement, whether they have a 24-hour hotline or not, do they have unlimited criminal and civil fees, do they allow you to choose your attorney if you so desire, do they cover any civil damages, do they cover red flag laws, do they cover domestic incidents, do they cover expert witnesses and investigators like we talked about, do they have a rapid response team that once you call them, they mobilize immediately to get out in front of things, do they cover your bond, and if so, how much, do they do crime scene cleanup? That's something that people don't talk about. Do they cover any appeals should you lose your initial trial? Do they replace firearms? Do they cover you for lost wages? Do they have a recoup provision where if you lose, they come back and hit you up for the money? And do they offer psychological counseling? So let's kind of walk through these really quickly. So CCW Safe was established in 2011, so they've been around for a while now. Monthly cost is typically somewhere between $19 and $57 a month, depending on what program you choose. Annual cost would be anywhere between $179 on the low end to $829 on the very high end. They do have some excluded states. They don't do New York, New Jersey, or Washington. They cover you if you travel to those states, but not if you're a resident of those states. Yes, they pay out up front. They have a 24-hour hotline that's actually answered by an actual attorney. I think that's critical. They do unlimited criminal and civil attorney fees. They do allow you to choose your own attorney. Oftentimes, though, they will want to vet the attorney to make sure they're qualified. Their program does allow up to $1 million for civil damages if you choose that package. They cover up to $5,000 on red flag laws. They cover domestic incidents. They have unlimited costs for experts and investigators. They do have a rapid response team, which I think is critical. They do bond coverage up to $1 million. They do crime scene cleanup up to $3,000. They cover appeals, firearms replacement, cover lost wages while you're in trial for up to $350 a day. They don't have any kind of recoup provision, meaning they don't come after you if you lose, and they offer up to $1,500 in counseling. So overall, I think that's a really, really solid program. So CCW Safe is definitely somebody you should consider. Let's talk about USCCA, because I feel like they do the best jobs in terms of marketing their program. They've kind of changed their focus in recent years, where before they kind of focused on themselves as a concealed carry insurance company, and now they're more of an education company that also provides insurance. So, view that how you may. Their monthly costs can be as low as $29 up to $49 a month, from basically $300 to $500 annually. They do not provide coverage in New York, New Jersey, or Washington. They do allow for national travel. They do pay out up front. They do have a 24-hour hotline. However, it's not answered by an attorney. They do have unlimited criminal and civil fees covered. They do allow you to choose your own attorney once vetted. They do allow for civil damages up to $2 million. Relative to red flag laws and domestics, they say maybe. It all depends on the circumstances. So, do with that information as you will. They offer up to $20,000 for all incidentals. So, experts, investigators, or whatever the case may be, they allow for $20,000. They do not have a rapid response team. They cover bonds up to $100,000. Crime scene cleanup up to $20,000. They do cover appeals. They do cover firearm replacement. They do lost wages up to $750 per day. Big thing here is they do ask for recoupment if you lose your case. And so, that's, to me, is a big, big factor with USCCA. And they don't provide any counseling session coverage. Right to Bear is kind of the new kid on the block. Next up, we have Right to Bear. Right to Bear is kind of the new kid on the block. They were just established in 2022. They are affiliated with Palmetto State Army. There's a $15 startup fee. Monthly cost is $11 to $34 a month. Annual cost $125 to $335. They do not cover New York, New Jersey, or Washington. They do allow for national travel. They do pay out up front. They do have a 24-hour hotline. However, it is not answered by an attorney. They do have unlimited civil and criminal cases. They do allow you to choose your own attorney if properly vetted. They do not cover any civil damages. So for me, this is a big concern because I think that's a big part of the mix. They do cover red flags laws. They do not cover domestic incidents. They have unlimited experts and investigators. They don't have a rapid response team. They do $100,000 of bond coverage. They don't do crime scene cleanup. They do cover appeals, firearms replacement, lost wages. They do not have a recoup provision, so that's great. And they do offer money for counseling sessions. So Right to Bear is a very cost-effective option for you. If you don't want to pay the higher cost that you see with maybe a CCW Safe or a USCCA, they do offer quite a bit for that dollar amount. I would say the big downside of it is that they don't cover civil damages, don't cover domestic incidents. They don't have a rapid response team with boots on the ground in your area, say like a CCW Safe does. But other than that, for the cost, I think right to bear is something that should be on the table. All of these should be on the table. All have pros and cons. All right, let's get over to U.S. Law Shield. U.S. Law Shield has been around the longest, established in 2009. There's basically a $20 startup fee. Monthly cost is $11 to $17. Annual cost $131 to $305. So very affordable. They don't cover Alaska, New York, Rhode Island, or Maine. They don't cover Alaska, Maine, New York, or Rhode Island. They do allow national travel. They do pay out up front. They have a 24-hour hotline that is actually answered by attorneys, similar to CCW Safe. I think that's great. They've got unlimited criminal and civil fees. They don't allow you to choose your attorney, so to me that's a little downside. But they say that the attorneys in their network are outstanding, and I have not heard that that is not the case. They don't cover civil damages, so for me that's a little concerning. They do cover red flag laws. They do cover domestic incidents. They have unlimited. They cover for experts and investigators. They do have a boots on the ground rapid response team, which I think is great. They cover up to $50K bond. They do crimes. They don't offer crime scene cleanup, but they do cover appeals, which is great. Don't do firearms replacement or lost wages. They do not have a recoup provision where they come back if you lose and ask for their money back. USCCA is the only company that has that provision, which in my mind is a big weakness, and they don't offer counseling. So that's kind of the breakdown between these four. CCW Safe, I feel, is really, really good, kind of all around, but a more expensive option. Right to Bear and U.S. Law Shield are less expensive options, but offer, pretty good coverage for the price. USCCA is kind of a mixed bag. Some things they do really, really well, like on the civil side of things. It concerns me that they come back and ask for the money back if you lose, because sometimes you can just lose. Sometimes you can be innocent and still lose. And so to me, that part of it would be a concern for me if I was with USCCA. But again, they have an educational component. If that's good for you, probably their education component is better than everybody else's. And they do really good on the civil side. So which one should you choose? I think that really just depends on you, right? What is important to you in this process? And I say look at all of them. Look at the cost-benefit analysis based on your personal budget, and then choose accordingly, right? Because, insurance is never one size fits all. It's very kind of based on the individual and the family needs. One of the things I didn't cover for those married folks out there, some of these cover your spouse, some don't. Some will cover the spouse for an extra fee. And so that's something you should be thinking about as well. Also, do they cover, if you have youth in the home, do they cover them as well? So all of these things are things you should be thinking about and kind of running through your head when you're choosing your insurance company. But here is what I will say, and I'll end it on this note. Some insurance, any insurance, is better than no insurance. So if you are carrying a firearm, get yourself some concealed carry insurance. All right? That's it for this episode, fam. Until next time, as always, take care of one another and peace.